Hello, folks. Welcome back to Automation Pitfalls series. Another topic, another day. So, what I want to talk today is about your typical CI/CD integration, right? So, you are writing tests, but how frequently are you running them? Which is based on, are they running in a pipeline? Are they running locally on your machine? So, something which is another anti-pattern. And let's say the topic for this conversation could be broken CI/CD practices. And I'll tell you what I mean. And this is from multiple conversations again across teams and which I've seen, which I've felt while I've spoken to people in general, is that a lot of times. So what people end up doing is that one is when they go start writing automation in their team, they do not create the whole pipeline at first. So what happens is that they'll first write a lot of tests and then they'll think of putting continuous integration in place or having a pipeline which can run all these tests. The other thing I see is that okay, people have tests, they also have a pipeline, but they're not running it frequently enough. So what's the point? I mean, the whole idea of automation is that you want feedback which is faster, which is reliable, and it is available with every single check-in that you do, right? I mean, so unless you're running it frequently enough, what's the point? I mean, you may not be running it for multiple reasons, and more often than not, it sort of boils down to if you have the right execution infra. But if it is not there, go fix it, but then there is no point not running it frequently enough. But anyways, I mean, let's come back to the first point, which is when do you first create your pipeline? I mean, for me, what is right and something which I've followed all my life when I've worked in projects, and even now when we work with our client projects, is that every single time the very first test which we write when we go work with our clients, right? uh, the very next step is that we go create this whole pipeline end to end. So even if it is one single test, as long as it is running as part of the pipeline, it is adding value to my whole release cycle. There is no point writing 10, 100, whatever number of tests, but not running them across multiple environments as part of every single check-in. Because then what is happening is that you have tests, but they're not adding value to the whole process. They're not giving feedback to anyone. So what you should essentially be doing is, if you were to be fixing this anti-pattern and being thinking of the right CI/CD practice from a QA perspective or from a testing automation perspective, is that whenever you go into a new project, even if you have one single test, they have to be by default, by design, running as part of the pipeline, even if it is one test. Don't get me wrong, but you should not be writing second test unless you have the whole pipeline in place. That is one. The other is, make sure that you're writing your test or sorry running your test very frequently. Because what happens, I mean, I've seen teams where they have a regression suite, they have a pipeline setup, but what is happening is that they're running regression once a sprint. So essentially, if you're starting a sprint today, a developer is making changes today which is breaking the regression, but you get to know only after 2 weeks when you run towards the end of the sprint. So what's the point of having all these tests then? Have your execution infra in place which can take the load and run almost every single check-in if possible, if not at least once a day for sure, so that problems are found faster. I mean, the whole idea of automation is to give faster feedback so that people who are involved in fixing the problem have context still, right? I mean, if I as a dev, I'm checking and making a mistake today, which is going to fail the regression, as long as I know it today, it is for me, it is much easier in terms of effort to go fix it than a QA coming to me after 10 days and then telling me that this is broken and can you fix it, right? So that's the whole point. In summary, what we're saying is, make sure that, I mean, in terms of CI/CD practices, you integrate from day one, right after first test, put a pipeline, run the test, and run them a lot frequently. Uh, Happy to hear comments again. What you are doing in your current project? If you're already following this, well and good. If you're not, uh, we can talk about challenges which you're facing, and maybe also why you're not. I mean, I'm happy to be proven wrong if that's the case, but then I want to understand why you're not doing it, and then what are the challenges. Thank you.